Hello, and welcome back to Doug Talks, episode 12, starring a guest that has been featured already, so it's the first time that we're doing a double feature, and who recently came back from California, just living the dream, as he's so described. It's Aidan Jack Finnecy, who was on episode number 4, Doug Talks. It abruptly cut off after we were talking about Assassin's Creed Odyssey and how that relates to different gods. Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me back on, Doug.
Yeah, no problem.
It's good to be here.
Yeah. So, usually I like to throw my guests for a loop. I put them in uncomfortable existential questions because I feel like that gets the best, most natural, or not natural, but the best response you can get is kind of an on-edge response because it makes you think, you know? But we've already done a few of those questions. So we have covered who am I?
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Right?
Yeah.
And you said a lot about, it could just be your name, but you said you were a storyteller.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And you said that you journaled every day and that you've been keeping scripts. And since you've moved to LA, I want to know, have you still been journaling?
Yeah, well, for San Diego, not LA.
Oh, sorry.
I wish. But, I've been, that all kind of still, because we did our interview when, 2020, 2021?
Yeah, sometime, yeah.
All that stuff still holds up, for sure. I still journal most days. I have a few scripts with a friend of mine, AC, who I record my music with.
Yeah, I remember the name.
We write some scripts together. Been talking about diving into that a bit more. I actually have a sort of like a rough draft for a book that I've been writing. Like I'm about 10 chapters in, like that I started writing while I was in California. So a bit different from a strip, but I've been doing that.
Okay.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think I would still describe myself as a storyteller.
So has it changed at all?
Maybe also a bit to performer as well, because I still very much see myself as a storyteller, but not so much in the past few months because I've been away, but last year we played live all the time, me and my band, the Jack Finnecy. So I really started to fall in love with performing, and we went on our first tour, and it was just so much fun. And that's one of the reasons why I might be coming back from California soon, because I want to play more shows. Right.
Yeah.
So definitely a performer as well.
Dude, that's awesome. I think I just saw a thing about the Beatles, and it was. I think it was Frank Zappa talking about the Beatles. Oh, no, it was Ozzy Osbourne talking about the Beatles. And he was saying, when they decided to stop gigging live, was a kind of major decision for them. And he says you get tired of recording, I guess, at the level that they're at.
Yeah.
You get tired of recording these albums, and it kind of becomes they're trying to experiment with their soundscapes, but you get limited. And he says that it's cool that McCartney still toured and gigged and performed. He says he's incredible. And I think that's a real different aspect, because you can be somebody that releases music but doesn't necessarily to perform all the time. There's a landscape for that, in the music industry. And I think that honestly the amount of necessity for beats or shit like that, just fill-ins and all that is there.
I feel like it's a newer thing too, where I feel like in the 70s, bands that had Mystique, like Zeppelin, they still played live, and it would be Mystique sort of in the shadows type thing. But nowadays it's the Mystique aspect is just somebody in their room putting out beautiful music on a computer, but you don't know anything about them because they don't play live.
Right.
They're just a random dude from Montreal in their apartment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was thinking of King Cruel.
Oh, yeah.
He's
10 years ago.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of different monikers for side projects that he does. Yeah,
that's cool.
So he's got even on his Instagram, he's got it's called Edgar the Breathtaker. I shouldn't be saying this because it's the Cool Kids Club, but it's Edgar the Breathtaker, and he posts shit like that's kind of like up and coming almost, versus like his King Cruel account, which is just like very like mainstream. Like these are the tour dates. This is what tour looks like. So I think that's cool. I think that's an interesting like facet.
I do, yeah.
And we went off of that from that question of who am I?
Right.
Now, we also asked the question, is there a God?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And you sort of answered that you hadn't. You were a certain type of Catholic.
I was raised Episcopalian. Catholic,
Episcopalian. I couldn't remember the word. Yeah.
But definitely, I would still identify as agnostic, which is something I think I said last time.
Yes.
Because, I don't know. For me, it kind of my attitude is pretty much the same. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to say there is or isn't because I don't have enough information. And it's not really in my interest right now to find out one or the other. So I'm kind of perfectly fine with just being like, I don't know, I'm agnostic.
Yeah, no, yeah. I remember sharing a story about how I had moments where I felt like there was divine presence, but I still am I described myself when I was younger as agnostic too. But I think I sort of changed into like spiritual.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You know, like there's just too many forces at play to like be like, oh, it's just like we're in the Matrix or we're or you know some other. It was the Big Bang or whatever.
No,
you know,
I'd say I believe in that too. Like maybe I'll identify as spiritual just because I don't know. Like I just look over like. This shit is too complicated to be random.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I just don't know.
And
also, I don't like the idea of living without there being a bigger thing, you know, or a bigger purpose. It's kind of like, I don't know. I like to imagine that.
And what like what drives you? Like you can use that as a facet of what drives you. Like
100%.
And then my last note for our little wrap up was I wrote. I don't know if you know Metallica.
I've heard of them.
Yeah. Or Idols.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, okay. They were on Metallica's blacklist for the thing that said the God that failed. And I thought that phrase was really interesting, and they did a really cool take on that. And I just wanted to say for our 6-minute viewers of the last episode 4, I was the God that failed at recording. But this
we went off on some good tangents there.
We did, yeah.
We had some good things to say. And then it was just like,
fuck. There was a whole other like 7-minute thing that never got out. Like we thought it was there, but it wasn't.
It is what it is.
So, in a new question, we can see here. Let's see. What happens when you die?
See, I can speak on this from all my experience of dying, but I don't know. I was actually talking about this with some friends of mine the other week or something, and I think I was really high, and I said something like I hope that when you die, you get to go into like a room with all your friends and stuff who are also dead, and you just get to watch a TV that is just playing life, and you just get to just for a whole lifetime, because you just did a life, and now for a whole lifetime you get to just enjoy, just sit, eat popcorn, just like look at that idiot.
Wow.
Look what he's doing. That's crazy.
Watch,
and then
like multiple people.
Yeah, sure. Flip the channels, whatever you want,
okay.
and just sort of look at life.
I like the imagery,
and look at the absurdity of all of it, because I feel like I can look at it right now, even being here. But I feel like if I was dead and I was like in this otherworldly place, it'd be just so cool to just almost like from a godlike stance.
Yeah.
Not have any control over it, but just observe it with your friends and just like, look at this guy, he's such a fucking idiot. Like, look, he doesn't have to be stressed, it's fine.
Yeah.
And then I'd like to think that after that, a lifetime of that's your break, that's your enjoyment. Then it's like, all right, you ready to get back in there? Then you got to go in and maybe get reincarnated and you do your thing. I don't know if I don't firmly believe any of that. It's just a fun theory.
Yeah, no, I like I said, I like the description in the sense of like it's just a review now, like you get to look over things and people and just learn, and it can be for forever. Because I think a lot of people can visualize that, but I'm thinking of my own life.
Sure.
Like would I watch this or watch like the infinite amount of like like parallel universe kind of thing. Like, do you believe that that can exist where it's like, you know, today I took a step to the right, but in my parallel universe I went left, you know, like
I absolutely believe that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And it all changes. Like then it's like the butterfly effect where it cascades into this. It's your entire life could be different, you know.
There's an alternate reality where right now this isn't a radio station.
Yeah, yeah. I wish. Oh
yeah.
Sirius XM, you know.
I definitely believe
Call
in that.
me.
Yeah, I believe in that for sure.
Yeah. No, that's sick. I always like thinking that like if I just went 2 more steps today, like I beat somebody like myself, but like my parallel self, you know.
I try not to think about it too much because it makes me go kind of crazy.
I
mean, if I had joined that band, I would have made it by now. You know?
You can get lost in that kind of thought. Yeah. But that is the show.
That is what it is. Yeah. It was fun to watch, though.
Yeah.
That is the show.
So, what is the meaning of existence?
I don't know. Like, I don't know why we're here. I don't know why I'm here, so I can't even think about the whole
like everybody.
Human beings. But I don't know. It's the same sort of thing as a higher power. I would like to think that there's a purpose. Like, I feel there's a cynical part of me that thinks that there isn't, and everyone's just here, and it is kind of the Big Bang, and it's all pretty just, you know, you just
random.
Yeah, but I would really like to think that there's also an artist part of me that has this idealistic vision of like, you know, I have a purpose. Like, I'm an artist. I can make pretty songs that people like, and I want a bunch of people to like them. You know, I want people to relate to them, and I want to be some free digital therapy for some people, you know? And I feel like that's my purpose. So that's why I'm here, and that's the point of my existence. I have no idea about everyone else, and I like to think about it sometimes too, like meeting someone. And like I met a kid at college. It's funny, he might hear this. And when I met him, he was like, yeah, I want to fly planes. Like, my whole life, since I was a little kid, it's been my dream. And I'm here to take pilot courses, and I'm going to be a pilot. And I was like, holy shit, like, outside of the music community, rarely have I met someone who's had, like, that one thing their whole life.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how, and so in my head, whenever I meet someone, it's like, what is your one thing? If you even have one, you know? Because not everyone does. Not everyone's as lucky as that.
That's what I was going to say, I'll get to, is that, you know, there is, to say that you have kind of, like, figured out, or you have a rough draft, even, of what it is you want to do, that's already a couple steps accomplished. You know what I mean? I think. And I think that the guy that flies planes, like, that's awesome. Yeah. You know, like, I don't know why, but but you know, that's his thing. Yeah, like there's people got to do the work, you know, like there is things to be done, and if they can find enjoyment out of it, if they can find their purpose through it, it's even better. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Because I don't know, like, nobody knows how long we're going to be here, you know? So it is kind of just like, you know, figure out how to make yourself most comfortable and most happy just day to day while you are here, you know?
Yes.
Because if you can figure that out, I don't know, some days I'll wake up because I have depression and anxiety, and some days I'll wake up and I'll just think, there's nothing good today. Like, nothing on the horizon is going to be good. And then other days it's like, I don't know, like, if I'm in a good headspace and I'm with good people and there's good stuff around, it's like, existing is not too bad, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if I'm going to be, and I get, like, decades more of this, like, fuck yeah. Like,
yeah.
It'll be fun.
Yeah. No, I think it's interesting from, like, a mental illness standpoint of, like, waking up and saying, oh, you know, today won't work.
Yeah.
And it blows my mind because I think a lot of people relate to that. Like, but I've been recently contemplating the idea of, like, the people that don't, right? And, like, could you wake up every day, like, even if you don't have depression, and say, like, this day's gonna be great, you know? And is it like they never feel like that bottom? Versus, like, is just kind of like a wrong side of the bed thing, you know?
It's not as big a deal.
Yeah,
and through going to college, it's funny because I've met a lot of people who I could just kind of tell, like, oh, you haven't really, like, you're just moving out of your parents. Like, you haven't really done, like,
You haven't hit that sadness.
It's not, and it's weird, because it's not that I want people to, but I work
But it makes you grow, is the thing. It really does.
And I work with a life coach, and we were talking about this, because I was telling her in one of our sessions, just, like, fuck, I'm just walking around campus, and all these people are walking around, like, and they're fit, and, like, they have smiles, and they're attractive, and they're just they just seem so well put together. And for whatever reason, it just pisses me the fuck off. It's like, I don't know, it's like in my head, it's like, you're not, like, deep down, you have just as many insecurities as I do, I'm sure. But for whatever reason, like, putting this wall up of happiness, it pisses me off. It's like, because whenever I meet someone who doesn't have that wall up, and they just trust in you, and, like, they just open up to you, like, the type of person where you meet them and you can tell they've been through pain, but they radiate happiness and they give you a hug, and...
Right.
Like, those people exist, so... It just pisses me off that the majority of the world are people who kind of put this wall up. And because it makes me feel shittier about not having the wall up, you know? As weird as that sounds.
No. I don't think it's weird. I think it's like you're trying to find diamonds in the rough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've always been attracted to the ugly side of things. Like, you know, that's how I describe it, at least, you know, listening to bands like Tropical Fuckstorm and, like... you know, Lightning Bolt even, and like noise rock, new generation, but even like Viagra Boys and shit, like it's kind of nasty, and there's something in it that resonates with me, because I think, you know, something in my childhood or how I was raised, you know, like wasn't as good as the greatest it could be.
Yeah.
And now I'm a little jaded from it. And but it's not that like I stay jaded. Like, and I think having this conversation is proof enough that it's like I'm aware of that in myself. You know, and that makes it better and like more of like a progressive thing versus like being just like stuck in your like anxiety and like depression and all
anxiety,
that.
Like it takes you over. You got to learn how to live with it and deal with it. And that's something I felt like that came on the past couple of years for me. But, it's like, I always tell my friends, especially new college friends, because when I was, like, really young, I was very overweight, like, and it really affected my confidence, like, especially because I wasn't really good at school either, or sports or anything, and you're, like, 10, you know, so like, if you're not good at those, what are you good at? So, and here I am, like, overweight, and I don't have many friends, and I think even though I've been on tour, and, like, I've had a lot of really great experiences in my life where people have, like, showered me with praise, like, that I'm so grateful for, because like you said, like I kind of am a few steps into the whole Aidan Jack Finnecy journey. You know, we've started. Yeah. It's been really fun. Even with like the best show of my life, like a whole crowd chanting my name, I am still that fat little kid. Like, or at least a part of always.
You never forget.
I'll never forget that.
Because it defined part of what you are now.
Yeah, and I think even if I hung out with like like if I got to the point, if I was hanging out with like the coolest group of people, you know, whatever, like I would still never feel. I still never feel like part of that, you know. There's always like you can go wherever you want, but there's always that part of you in you, and like it doesn't have to be a bad thing if you can figure out how to make it work for you. Like, okay, I have this pain, let's put it into music or into a script.
Right, like, there's an outlet.
Yeah, exactly.
A healthy outlet.
You need the outlet. Right?
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I think that you know, when you get into the idea of like what forms your memories, like I had a psychiatrist. That said, it was doing a dissertation on why negative memories are actually like more impactful than positive ones. It's because part of the reason, if you can guess, is that it's like it's a flight or flight thing. So it's just like instinct. Because if you put your hand in the flame, it's gonna burn you.
Yeah.
That's a negative experience.
Right.
So you don't do that again. You know, you learn from that.
You learn more from the bad.
Yeah, you know, so that's what he was trying to say. Is where the happy stuff, you're flooded with dopamine, serotonin, whatever, is fleeting.
Yeah.
Because you need to generate it.
Yeah.
You know, instead of be reminded that it was bad. Yeah. You know, and I think that's a really interesting perspective as far as like. Why people remember certain things about their lives and what forms them.
I think that happiness is fleeting. Like that's like I kind of have to like even in the good moments, I try to remind myself like mentally, just like, hey, take a mental snapshot of this, like remember this. Try to just be here now. This is good.
That's a good idea. I should copy that.
Yeah, the mental snapshot thing. I like to do that a lot.
Yeah, there's this book. Because I know it's an audio thing, but Aidan is like taking a snapshot with like a Polaroid with me, and there's a book where they describe this girl who has photographic memory, and she does like snapshot. She says snapshot and does that thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and she becomes a detective or whatever, you know. Like I forget what grade I read that book in, but you know, it is definitely like a good thing to try to recognize where you're at, take the breath, realize, you know, you're alive in this moment, and be grateful. And I think that's part of why we have these talks, these Doug talks.
Absolutely. Yes.
is to realize that and bring that back into your focus. All right, so let's see. What else can we throw at them? Huh. All right, I like this one. It's an example. Okay. It's kind of like I think we may have actually talked about this and it got cut off.
Oh, word.
But you are a soldier and you've been told that you'll be considered a hero by people you are trying to help. Then you find out that they hate you. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So, like, you're trying, like, say you're American, you go to Iraq, you know, you're a hero, whatever, but the people there hate you because, like, it's a war thing. Yeah. What, is the soldier doing something bad?
I don't know if we covered this. This is not ringing a bell. I don't know though. It's funny because I actually have a friend who's in ROTC right now. Like he's going to military college.
Yeah, all about that. I got a few friends as well. Yeah,
it's interesting because it's not my path at all. Like I've always known that I could never be in the military for the simple reason that I can't be told what to do that much. Like I just. Also, I need reasons. So if I understand the reasons for all the protocols in the military, like the little things. Like if you don't do this little thing, then the whole thing can fall apart. Like everyone needs to follow orders. But if I would just start to pick apart. Like, wait, why are we doing like this? You know?
Yeah.
And if they didn't give me
mundane,
and they wouldn't be able to give me a good reason, I would just be like, no. But yeah, that reminds me of Vietnam. I remember hearing like a lot of stories about that. You know, like from veterans saying that they would go over with all the praise from their families. You know, and then get there and everybody hates them. I don't think it's the soldiers' fault, obviously. You know,
it's more like the system.
It's bigger than them.
Yeah.
As to whether they're doing a bad thing, they might be. Yeah, I think they're doing a bad thing, what they're doing, but their intentions might not be that way, you know? But that's the thing, though. Intentions don't really cover up for your actions. You know, you can have good intentions going into something, but then you end up acting like an idiot and then you do bad stuff, like... Yeah. Your intentions aren't an excuse, you know? So I don't have a lot of hatred towards the soldiers in that sense. But no. Yeah, that's a weird...
It is definitely... It's a spicy topic, right? Yeah. It's definitely hard to... Like, we might offend some people. We might be like, finally somebody said that, you know? But I think... I try to have respect for the sacrifice that these people do. You know, because it is a sacrifice. You're going to get ostracized by some majority people, you know, or not majority, but like, you know, some group of people for just picking up the gun and using a gun, you know, or whatever, like being a part of that system. And I used to see it like that. I used to see it as like, you know, I didn't want a world where violence existed.
Sure.
You know, but it's just not how it is, you know? Yeah.
We want to hit each other.
Yeah. At some point, yeah, you know? Like, the anger is a real emotion. It shouldn't be like a scary, emotion to have to like. You can utilize anger, I think, in a healthy way.
Oh, definitely.
You know, like watching an MMA fighter or something.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they're in the best shape of their lives.
Yeah.
You know, and they're doing this sport, and it is a sport, and like just sports in general. But I think of the real fighter because I see that as a soldier, and you know how they're taking hits and they're giving it back, and they want the win. You know, and I think. As far as the soldier doing bad things, I think I agree with you and say, yeah, like you kill someone that's bad. Yeah. You know, typically that would be considered bad. Exactly. And it's something though where so many infrastructures are in place that isn't like a reflection of that individual. No. It's more of the system that is working around him or her. Yeah.
I'd say in the case of like a soldier, because I feel like it probably happens, it's complicated. Like if you kill someone, it could be a civilian, like who knows, but
right. If
it's a soldier against the enemy soldier and somebody gets killed, I do kind of view it as like, you both, like, you know what you're getting into. You know, like, you're both... It's not like somebody just walking up to you on the street and killing you. It's like, You're both sort of hopefully voluntarily, being a part of, not a game, but this thing, you know, that we're doing that's called war. Like, you're both... Yeah. You're both a part of this actively. And when you're engaging in, you know, one-on-one, it's... I don't know, like, it's
life or death, you know? Like you have to... Yeah, you know, and at least for Americans, it's like, you know, there hasn't been a draft, or there probably won't be a draft. I say that, I'll watch there be a draft now, you know, but nobody's gonna put up with that shit, like millennials, you know.
Dude, we were worried about it last year with Ukraine. Like I was in class with my friends, like shit.
I remember the day I got the letter.
You got a draft letter?
No. The letter just to like be in. I forget what it is, but you have
to sign up for the adult military.
I that letter. Yeah. I was depressed that day, yo. Like talk about like depressed. Like my mom was like, "You got to stop being so dramatic. Like they're not gonna call you in for the draft." And I was like, "I don't want to sign up for this. I don't want to be a part of this. This isn't you know fair to me." I felt and it was a weird day.
I understand.
I had to sign it, but
it's like your duty as an American. But you know, don't. It's the whole thing. Like, I didn't ask to be born. I didn't ask to be born here. You know, so it's like, why is this just? I totally get what you mean.
Yeah, it's again, it was systems beyond your control. Yeah. You know, for at least, yeah, huge. It's to be the daughter of or son of some millionaire even. Or a political person.
But then you have to go into the military.
Yeah, like would they? That's pretty good. Like that would be the greatest irony.
I love it. I love the fact that Elvis went to the military after he got famous. Like, you really think about that. Like Elvis was a superstar, and then they were still like, "No, you're drafted. You gotta go."
Yeah.
Like I like that. Even though I have no problem with Elvis, but like just seeing some rich dude getting sent to the military.
It feels better.
Yeah,
because it's like. It's expendable. I don't know. That's fucked up.
Just everyone's equal. It makes it. It feels that way.
Because it feels like they send poor people more than they do the rich.
Yeah, or it appeals to that demographic more.
Yeah,
but
it's like a way out.
My friend who's in ROTC, he's similar. Like he was like similar to the friend with planes. He was like ever since we were little kids, he's like I'm going into the military, and now he's doing it. And he says it's like very, very hard because like up at 5 every morning, you're doing drills and everything.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing him for the first time, like last night, because I flew back, and he's like taller. I didn't know he could get taller. Like he's ripped. He's looking good. He's happy, and I'm happy to see him happy.
No, I think that's the bottom line is that like we're not trying to ignite like a flame war. We just want to see perspective, and to see that. Some people want to do it and it makes them happy, and again that's their purpose and their drive, it kind of comes full circle, and I think that's a great way to kind of close it, honestly.
For sure,
yeah. So
we all have that purpose. It always comes full circle, even if it is as far apart as like military and music.
Yeah.
Both, like me and my friend, we both just have that one drive. For me, it's music. For him, it's military. And it's pretty.
Yeah,
beautiful.
you know, it's that's a beautiful thing. I think is the drive and the happiness being key to your internal success and everything like that. You know, I think that is probably what matters the most out of these weird questions that we do.
I agree.
All right. With
Thanks, Doug. Thanks for having me back on.
Yeah, no problem. I hope that this is a half an hour session.
Fuck yeah.
I think we reached the longest Doug Talks ever.
Happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, thank you, Aidan. All right. And with that, I will see you next time.